Hi, welcome to Oma's Kitchen.
Oregano.
Let's do a Greek food night in Oma's Kitchen. I have here a whole lot of spices because we're going to use them for several different things. We're going to make a homemade tzatziki sauce. We're going to do a spice rub on a pork tenderloin. We're going to cut up some petite potatoes into quarters, and we're going to roast those at the same time we roast the pork tenderloin. We have some pepperoncinis and olives here. We're going to make a feta cheese, cucumber, tomato, and onion salad with Kalamata olives in it. We're going to pack all of that into pita breads and make these beautiful Greek pitas with potatoes underneath for our dinner tonight. I've got some fresh lettuce here to put in there with them. So this is going to be this big gorgeous Greek meal in Oma's Kitchen, and let's get started. Let's make the tzatziki sauce. I can never say that right. It's T-Z.
Tzatziki.
Is it tzatziki? I can't say it. Anyway, the sauce. Let's make the sauce. To start with, a nice fresh cucumber. And we're going to take the seeds out of it. We're not using the whole thing. We actually only need about a half a cup of finely cut cucumber. So let me start here. And I'm going to take these. This is an organic cucumber. So organics are never perfect, but they're grown without chemicals, which, yeah. We're going to cut this in half, and in half again, and take the seeds out. This is such a nice, fresh dressing. Very small. You see how small these pieces are. They're actually big. You could grate the cucumber if you wanted. Traditional tzatziki sauce is just Greek yogurt. I like to include about a tablespoon of sour cream in with it. I think it actually helps the flavor a little bit. That's my personal opinion and my own take on it. But if you look up a recipe for traditional tzatziki sauce, you'll find that it's just Greek yogurt. Okay, so there's our very small cucumber. To this, we want to add a cup of Greek yogurt. One. Two. Okay. I'm going to add about a regular tablespoonful of sour cream. So, we want 2 teaspoons of olive oil. 1, 2. The juice of a lemon. Just make sure you have no seeds in there before you squeeze it in. I find cutting right down that spine in the middle usually grabs the seeds. Okay, half a teaspoon of garlic. I use less garlic in my Greek food than traditional Greek food. And anyone who watches my channel understands that I like garlic, but too much of it gives me an upset tummy, so I back way off of it. I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of onion powder. Okay. I am going to add a lot of dill. So probably the equivalent of 2 good tablespoons of dill. And some tzatziki sauce has mint in it. I don't like that, adding mint to it. Oh, I need salt. So instead of mint, I add a little parsley. Let's just do this. Some salt and parsley. About a half a teaspoon of parsley. Okay. And this makes this beautiful fresh dressing. I'm making a mess. In the fridge till we're ready for it. We will come back to that in a little while. So the tzatziki sauce is made. So we're gonna make a brown sugar spice rub for this teriyaki flavored pork tenderloin. I could do 2 tenderloins, but I think 1 will work because we have so many other beautiful things to put in the pitas. A regular teaspoon. And I'm going to start with paprika. This is a smoked paprika, and I want a lot of it. So I'm going to use a heaping teaspoon. Yeah. The other big one I want to use is ground coriander. I have a heaping teaspoon of that as well. We need salt. I'm doing a regular flat teaspoon of salt. I'm going to do about a half a teaspoon of garlic. Alright, about a half a teaspoon of garlic. About a teaspoon of onion powder. We're going to use a little chili powder just to pump up the heat a little bit. So, about a half a teaspoon. Pepper. And I'm not even going to measure it, I'm just going to sprinkle some in there. So, I'm going to look at how much I have in this bowl. Mix it together a little bit. I have about 2 tablespoons full of spices. What I want to do is about half of the amount of sugar as spices. I'm going to use a tablespoon of brown sugar. You could use regular sugar as well when I'm out of brown sugar. Sometimes I use that. The sugar is really to provide a caramelizing on top of the meat with the spices. We have a tablespoon of brown sugar. Okay. And we're going to mix that in really well until there's no big clumps of brown sugar anymore. So I have put my pork tenderloin into a pan, a baking pan. I've lined with some aluminum foil. I have my spice rub, and I'm going to pile it up on top first. Okay. Once I get it good and piled up on top, then I will try to smear it down the sides a little bit. Like this. Like this. There we go. And because this is a tenderloin, it doesn't produce a ton of grease, which I find nice that it doesn't do that. But we will have to add a little water in the bottom of the pan just to keep the sugar in the spice rub from burning on the bottom of the pan. And this will give us the beautiful flavor. And I'm going to do thin slices to put in our pitas. Water in the bottom on both sides. This will go in the oven at 425 for about 50 to 60 minutes. Okay, so I have some small potatoes here that I have washed, and I'm going to quarter each one. I'm going to put them in this bowl with some oil and spices. I'm going to cut these into quarters, and in they go. They're multicolored, which will be beautiful. I think food should be pretty. Eat with your eyes first. Alright. Now I don't measure the amount of oil I put in. I just put in a little at a time. So this is peanut oil. You could use canola oil. Don't use olive oil because you're roasting them at 425 and olive oil burns at high temperatures. Putting some oil in with them. Don't drown them. but you do want enough in there to coat them a little. Obviously salt potatoes and salt. You really do need some salt on these. Now, I have sage. My sage was sent to me by my friend Gisela in Germany. She grew it in her garden and then dried it and sent me this along with a couple of other things like rosemary and thyme. So these came from Gisela's garden. These are sage leaves, and I'm almost out. This is it. Okay? Dried sage leaves that I'm going to pinch and put all with this. Watch. And I need new sage. This was wonderful. I went through all of what she sent me, and she sent me quite a big container of dried sage, and I love that.
Yum.
Yeah. Okay. And my sage is gone. Bummer. Some parsley. Pepper. And onion powder. Okay, so these are the spices that are going to go in with my potatoes. And here's the easy way to do this. I have a lid, and I'm going to shake. Make sure your lid's on there, and it fits well when you do that. See, now they are all coated evenly with the herbs, spices, and oil. I have a cookie sheet with aluminum foil on it, and I'm going to spread them out on the cookie sheet. So when my tenderloin is in the oven, these will be underneath, just happily baking along. Okay, so these will be our roasted potatoes for our Greek food night.
Yep.
We have the rest of our cucumber from the tzatziki sauce and another small English cucumber. I'm going to de-seed them. Half again. We will take some of the seeds out. Cut these at the same time. I want to cut this one in half. It's too big. There we go. Now I can do little chunks. And we have the cucumber part done. Next we will do the tomato part. I'm just going to cut the centers out of them and chop those up at about the same size as the cucumbers. Juice, all that juice, let me put that in there. There. Why waste it? It can be part of the dressing. When I was a little kid, one of my favorite things was a tomato sandwich. So go out to the garden, get one about double this size. Bright red tomato, slice it in big, thick slices, and put it on a piece of fresh bread with mayo, salt, and pepper. Tomato sandwich. One of the joys of summer. My husband does not like onion very much. So I'm actually going to do a little bit of onion mixed in with the salad, and then I'm going to do a side bowl of chopped up onion for the rest of us who actually like onion. So he will have some marinated onion in this, but it won't be overpowering for him. So this is our separate onion stash. I have 2 containers of feta cheese here. The feta cheese gets packed in salt water and it's a big chunk of it. So I'm actually going to drain these at the sink when I first open them, and we'll come back and chop it up for the salad. Now I can open these without them making a mess, or at least too much of a mess on my countertop. Look at that. This big beautiful brick of feta. Oh, I know, that's why I like that brand. So we want these about the same size as our cucumber. Cut it into strips first. And then turn them in the other direction. Let me see how big this is going to be. Yeah, it should be about right. And cut our pieces for the salad. Beautiful. And then we have chunks of feta. Yeah. Last thing to go in will be the olives, and then we'll add some dressing. Oh my God. You want these?
Sure.
Oh my God, that's good. I know, right? I gotta rinse this up. I have a big jar of pitted Kalamata olives here, and I'm actually gonna put the whole jar in with this. But I have to drain them first. And there we go.
Yep.
I know. Now we're gonna put these in. 2 wooden spoons. And I'm just gonna mix this up a little bit before I add the dressing. This lets me see how much dressing I need, and it's based on the juiciness of the tomatoes. I have this light Italian dressing. I don't want this to take over. I want these flavors to show. So I'm actually going to use a 1/4 cup of this light Italian dressing. I'm going to add some olive oil, a little bit of lemon juice, some parsley and onion powder, and just put enough in here to give it extra flavor. I've shaken this. I'm going to use a 1/4 cup. Onion powder. Get right in there. Parsley. Okay. Onion powder, parsley. I'm not measuring this. I'm going to do a little olive oil. And I'm going to use the juice of about half a lemon. What this is going to do for me is let me tone down the garlic in this because it's a little overpowering. But I want to add a little bit into this too. And so what you'll get is a little bit of the garlic in the back flavor, but it won't take over.
Lemon seems like one of those things that goes nice with anything.
It does. It really does. When Gisela sent me the spices from Germany, she sent me lavender.
Yeah.
And I made these lavender lemon shortbread cookies with it. And they came out so good. They're sort of like the cookies that John was just raving about that I sent down to him. But they had lavender and lemon zest and lemon juice in them. They were so good. With lavender, you have to be careful though. If you use too much, it starts to taste perfumey. Mm-hmm. You just want it to be a little hint of it there. So we have rescued the store-bought dressing from oblivion. I'm gonna add a little salt to it too. I know there's salt in the feta and salt in the olives, but a little salt in here won't hurt. Let me mix this together. So this is olive oil. This is the store-bought Italian. Olive oil, lemon juice, salt, onion powder, and parsley. I'm gonna pour that over, because man, that dressing from the store is garlicky. I'm gonna pour this over a little bit. Okay. Now we can mix. You will still break up your feta a little bit. That's okay. Be careful how much you mix, because you'll just make a big mushy mess out of it. You do want all of it to be marinated. All right? So now we have this beautiful salad. Beautiful. I'm actually going to put the pepperoncinis in the middle. And I only want enough for a little pile in the middle. And not a lot of the juice. Although the juice is really good. The pickled juice for the pepperoncinis.
Yeah.
This is so pretty to put this out with the rest of it. And you could put this on the side or with your potatoes, or put it down in your pita. My mix. Depends on what you want. Look at how pretty that is. I love that yellowy greenish color. Okay, this should be plenty for tonight. Get in there, get in there. Okay, I have these big pitted black olives. One of Dad's favorites. And yours, apparently. Ooh, I got too much of the juice still in there.
Oh, those are strong.
Are they?
Mm-hmm.
Is it good or bad?
Good.
Is it? Okay, so strong black olives. And this is an olive mixture, and these are not pitted. So we wouldn't include these in the salad. They're good on pizza.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind them on pizza, but Dad loves these big whole ones. He's all about it.
I used to hate olives. They've kind of grown on me.
Yeah, black olives are a whole different animal. They're not my favorite, but I buy them for him. Makes him happy. So unpitted olive mixture I've got here. And I'm going to save the jar in case we don't eat them all. I can put them back in the jar in the fridge. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So this is part of our meal tonight. Look at these beautiful roasted potatoes. So pretty. We're going to actually put those into a bowl. Put them aside. We're not that far from eating dinner, so these will still be warm when we go to make our pita breads. These will go on the plate first, and we'll pile the pita on top. So there we have that. Roasted potatoes. So I had these in with the pork tenderloin, and they took about 20 minutes less to cook than the pork tenderloin will, which is fine. 15 to 20 minutes less. These carry their heat very well. I'm going to cover them over with a little bit of aluminum foil, and they'll still be warm when we go to eat them. 425 to 435, and they took about 40 minutes, 30 minutes. Keep an eye on them. You'll know when they're done. This is our pork tenderloin. I cut it in half lengthwise. I know. And it's just beautiful on the inside. Okay. Are you still able to see?
Mm-hmm.
So nice. Move my fork backward. We want thin slices because it gotta fit into a pita. Can you smell it?
Yeah.
All that steam coming off of it. It's got that nice coriander, smoked paprika smell to it. Provide a nice flavor to go with the rest of this. Beautiful. Put this fork right on there. Go ahead. Yeah, it's good stuff. Let's put a plate together. So we're going to actually take this plate and we're going to grab a few potatoes. We're going to take a pita bread, open it up. Okay. Little tzatziki sauce in there. We also want a little bit of lettuce in there, like this.
Mm-hmm.
Several pieces of this beautiful pork tenderloin in there. Spread them out a little bit. Sprinkle some in there. A little bit more of the sauce. We want some of this salad in there. Look at that.
Yep.
And over the top of that, we're going to put some of this sauce and let it come out onto the potatoes. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And then we want a pepperoni or two. And some olives around the edges. How's that?
Perfect.
Thank you for joining me in Oma's Kitchen. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll upload more tasty videos soon, and a special shout out to Moon Pie and Lil Bit. Till next time.
Oregano.